SwayamPrabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Now let us understand or learn about design thinking steps. Actually, in design thinking steps, there are so many design thinking models are available. And some models have 3 steps, some models have 4, 5, 7, like that. So there are existing various models, and these steps are ranging from something like 3 to 7. For instance, you see that IDEO, they have given the steps number of step as 3. The double diamond method, which is there, that is having 4 steps, and that was designed by British Design Council. And the 6th stage design thinking model, it is called 6 square. It is a model proposed by Kirja. So there are several models which are available for design thinking. However, the most commonly used model and which is widely used in many places is the 5-step model of design thinking. And in 5-step model, we will learn about this one after some time. This was originally developed by the Hasso-Plattner Institute of Design at Stanford University, the D School it is also called. Now many companies actually, they use their models in new product development. Some of them they are using their design thinking models, some of them they little bit of customization they did. However, the idea is basically the same. We use design thinking method to understand the user, make innovative products for the user. So what are the 5 steps? What are the 5 steps? First is empathize or empathy. Empathy is where we will learn more about this one, but in general, empathy is where we try to understand the user from their perspective. So it is something like being as if we are the user and understand the user in depth, so that the product which we are making is very much related and relevant and exactly addressing the need of the user. There are different kinds of user. Whatever kinds of user we are having, the way of understanding the user in depth, try to find out the pain points, try to find out how their lifestyle is. All these things are coming under empathy or empathize. Once we empathize, next one is define. We define what the problem is. After understanding that, exactly this is the problem. There could be some limitation to the problem, there could be some constraint to the problem. All these things we need to understand in the stage of defining. Once defining is over, we ideate. We find out solutions. We use various methods like brainstorming. There are other ways also. We generate a lot of ideas, select the best idea among all these ideas. So we find out the solution. This is the most important step among all the process. Please understand, this is very much similar to the product design steps. However, among all these 5 stages, ideate is regarded as the most important step in the entire 5 steps of design thinking. Next is prototype. Prototype means where we prototype a solution. Prototype may be physical, prototype may be virtual. It could be a solution which is discussed. So it is a solution where we make an actual working of prototype, and that can be tested later on. And that is what the next is. Last step of design thinking is, fifth step of design thinking is testing, where we take the prototype, put it in front of the customer, see the reaction, or we actually take the prototype and put it in the as a solution for the system, and we see how it is functioning. If not, we have to take this back again and make this cycle again. So repeating again, because this is important. First is emphasize, second is define, third is ideate, fourth is prototype, and fifth is testing. So these 5 steps of design thinking, it is generally followed in many of the companies, and we are also going to learn more about this design thinking process in depth in this one. So first step is empathize, and the idea is that making or understanding user-centric design approach. Human-centric means you have to understand the user in depth. It is not merely creating a product, but is making a product which is desirable to the end user. It is very important to understand the user and customer in depth, what they exactly want, what they expect from the product. Because as a designers, we get sometimes influenced by our own liking, our own understanding, but that is not the right approach. It is also important to keep in mind that we are not solving some kind of just problem. We are solving somebody else's problem. And the deep empathy is going to help us in understanding the actual problem is. Until unless we go to talk to the potential customer, potential users, until unless we go and see the lifestyle, it's difficult to understand what the customers are expected or what the users are going to expect from this product. So we have to go to the real world, meet people, and see how they are going to use it. And behavior of these people very different from each other, even from cultural to culture is very different, country to country. If a state to state is very different, age of the people, so not everybody will be different, everybody will be same. Then there are also people of different social structure. Some people are rich, poor. So we cannot make products which are for everybody. Often some products, yes, some products does have the aim, but most of the products are focused for a certain group of people who are going to use them. So real behavior understanding is the key for product innovation. The main goal of empathy is to actually go into the user shoe and feel what to be like to be another user. So here you have to actually make the survey, user survey, in the field survey, going to the user and feel what they feel about the product. Need we have to understand. So how to build a behavior profile? In order to understand the behavior, we have to observe and make a profile, and maybe we have to ask a lot of questions. What do you think people currently do? How the questions are? How often do you think they do the one kind of activity? And why do you think people do it? Why do you think? These are all the questions. All the questions we need to ask to the users, to us also, to understand the user. And we need to see that okay, the user is doing these activities across the day, from starting to the in the day, and then how this life is going to go and how the product is going to be added. What do you think they do it? And here it is not necessary that one should get the exact answer for this. Then, it is important that we should have a behavioral profile and understand the user in depth. So now take for example, this image we see that an old person, and if you wanted to understand the old person in depth, we have to actually see what exactly he or she is leading the life. So we can have an interaction with them and see how their life is. So how do you think, Vikalp, that we can do empathy of the older people?
Okay, sir, what I think is that there are various ways that through which we can empathize with the target customer. Like for example, here you have said that for an older person. So the first one is that we can either role play the person or the end customer that we are, for whom we are designing the product. But the best possible thing that what I feel is that what we can do is we can actually go to the person, observe his behaviors, his actions toward it. For example, like for an older person, as we can see from the picture itself, that a person is walking with a stick. So definitely for an older person there are some difficulties in walking. So depending upon the activities that they perform in their daily life, we can be there. For example, if a person goes to visit a doctor or driving a car or reading a newspaper. So for example, for driving a car we can say, so what a designer should do is we can actually sit with the person beside in the car itself, in the side seat, and they can observe the behavior, what are the feelings and what are the actions they perform while driving. So because to pen down, if I say that I have to tell you what the older person feels out, so that will be a complicated task because the feelings are very personal and complicated from their point of view. So to be present with the customer, to be there, it gives a huge insights about the behaviors of the customer, and we can understand more in a much better way about their problems that they are feeling, and we can design the product systematically. So this is what I feel is that the true empathy we can achieve from the user itself.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
So as you have seen in the example that capturing behavior signal is important. So we capture the behavior of these people and then watch carefully what exactly they do. And one should need to talk to the person who is actually doing this work. And now this is suddenly awkward. Actually, you go to the person and talk to. But this is what we do. This is we cannot just sit in the chair and table and start doing drawing and designing until we ask the question, right kind of question. We will not be able to interact. Interaction is important. And the care should be taken that we ask the proper kind of question, because when you ask the proper question which is influencing our designing, that kind of question we need to ask. Then for example, good question can be, can you show me how to use this product? Then we will see, okay, this person is using this product in this way. And do you remember the same time when the product broke, what kind of thing is there? So what is the favorite app? And there's certain question a little bit we have to avoid. Like, do you like this product? Okay. Then of course people will say, yeah, I like the product, or very less people will take, oh, I don't like the product. So, and then if you make something to fix this problem, what will you buy it? See, we have not shown the product right now, solution, and then we are telling the person that if I fix this one, then will you buy it? It is a difficult question to answer for a person. Okay. Then how much time you spend on this mobile app? So something, it is good for some instance, but some instance is not so suitable also. So David Kelly, he is the founder of IDEO and Stanford D School creator. This is quote from him, that our first person experiences help us from personal connections with the people for whom we are innovating. We have washed other people's clothes by hand in their sinks, stayed as guests in housing projects, stood beside surgeons in operating rooms, and climbed agitated passengers in airport security lines. All these things they have done, all this to build empathy. So you see that this kind of empathy is not an easy job, because the person or designer has to go and get involved, not only asking questions but get involved with the people who are going to get empathy. We have to have empathy. So this is the kind of detailed understanding is required of the user, and this is what empathy is all doing. So here is a famous example of HUL Pureit. So as you know, Hindustan Unilever, this is a company which has started this Pureit, and nowadays we will see other companies also. Originally these researchers, I mean of course the designers, but I will talk about design researchers and other engineers, they actually went to the various places in villages and found what kind of pain point they are having. They found that especially Indian villages, they don't have good water for drinking. Water is not safe for drinking. So what they do? They take water, they boil, and then start drinking. But boiling is not an easy job. Boiling is going to change the taste. Of course, it's very good water, no doubt about it. It's going to reduce the minerals also. Contaminant definitely is going to go off, it's fine. But boiling is going to take time. It's going to take effort. It's going to take energy. And electricity is something which is not always available in the villages, always, in every places. So solution is that we need to have a filtration method which is standardized according to something like US standard, and then the water should be drinkable. It should not run on electricity. It should be economical. So ultimately, with all this understanding, they came out with this system, Pureit. So how it works? It is having some kind of filtration system, and water is going to be on top of it, and due to gravity, it is going to filter, and then whatever is filter is coming, filtered water one can drink. It is very good filter. After something like 1,500 liters of filtration, you need to change the candle. That cost around only 300 rupees. So you can see this kind of understanding, if it's not there, coming up with this kind of product is very difficult. So this is the why, and slowly it becomes successful. The company has made lot of profit by selling this product, and the reason is that they have actually understood the pain points of the people in the villages, and this is a very good product also. Even now also, I mean, modern designs has been changed, but it's something which is very good for the villages. Now we are going to go for define. The second step of this design thinking is the define. Define is where we are going to understand, from the understanding we are going to define the problem in depth. So we're going to find out the problems and pinpoint this is exactly the problem is. So human-centric issues is a problem, and then you're going to draft the problem statement. So problem statement is drafted, and this is where This is going to also can help in many problems, but selection of the problems and what solving is something which is very important. What kind of problems we are going to solve? And this defining is important because we are going to evaluate also with respect to the definition of this problem which we have defined as a draft, as a problem statement. So there is a saying in German that weniger aber besser. It means that less is better, which means that if you want to define a problem and find out the actual problem, so we have to be concise as possible. Now, no matter how good designer solutions is, if it doesn't solve the major problem, the customer is not going to definitely buy it. Advertisement, if you do more advertisement, some people will buy, of course, initially, but later on it will not become successful. So you have to focus on the few problems and most important problem. So these are the things which we design a problem. We have to, when we are understanding a problem from empathy, here you defining very specifically this is the major problem, and of course there are some other sub problems. So how to select a problem? There is no hard and fast rule, and there are also, of course, there can be many problems. So we need to rank. There is we can rank the problem. So there are some quotations which like to say that is not every problem is solvable. Okay, which means that Bob is telling that we have to understand that we cannot solve all the problems. We have to solve which is the problem which we are confident that a problem well defined is a problem half solved. Why? Because when you are understanding the problem and finding out the exact focus on the problem, is we have already understood that the solutions of this will be focusing on this problem only. So it is saying like that. So in order to clearly define the problem, we need to understand. Understanding is very important. And designers have to pen down the problem of the customer, and we have to use critical thinking for this. So because this is important, because there is a lot of presumptions which are there, that is designers has to be non-judgmental and open-minded. So if designers think that this is a problem, it's not always true. Sometimes the problem is there in the mind of the user, and until unless we understand it, we should not assume that we have understood. Okay. So it's not, of course, it's not an easy thing. So when we have a problem, of course, most of the time the problem comes with some constraints. So for example, how can we improve the safety standard of our company? This is a standard. This is like a standard, or this is a straightforward question. However, if we have this one, that how can we improve the safety standards of our company without increasing our expenditure, then the constraint is there. And within the constraint, if you want to work, then the problems, then the solution which we are going to come, it will be more useful for the company, because the previous problem, if you take, solution will come, but that may increase the price. Ultimately, it may not be implemented. But this is something which is important, that we are going to work. It is better to work with some constraints also. So, here is contextual problem too. Like, what makes is more genuine, and we can generate less but impactful ideas in the solution. This is what it is. And then how can we arrange our safety policy to improve the safety standard in the company without increasing our expenditure. So here we are going to add some more constraints to this one. Like this, we define the problem in such a way that the main problem is focusing on the main agenda. However, constraints we are adding to make the solution more applicable for us or to the user. So we have to define the problem in depth. Next is the important thing which is coming is the ideate. So in ideate, the first thing is ideate is the third step in the among the five steps of design thinking. And here we generate lots of ideas. More ideas are better. And then naturally the tendency of designers many times, okay, I like this idea because I have generated it, or this is my first idea, okay, it seems to be a good idea. This kind of confidence is not always good, because it has been found that more and more we think about the idea, the solutions will be better. And out of box thinking is something which is important. And then if you have high patience as a designer and ample time you have to spend. This is true for even for research also, right? If you do research and we are thinking about a problem for more, then we are getting better idea. So creativity, innovation. You should understand that we should generate more and more solutions. That is going to make us more creative. So Mark has given a very good quote in this one. The best idea really come on a mountaintop in a flashing of lighting, which means that indirectly it's telling that you should generate more and more better ideas. He is a co-founder of Netflix. So what we see here, that there are so many techniques for idea generation, and one of the most commonly used technique for idea generation or ideate is the brainstorming. This is very common in industry, and there are certain rules are there for brainstorming. One is then sharpen the focus, start with the problem, and then broad away, and there is broad enough, and then mind the playground rules, which means that you focus on the idea and defer judgment, do not judge each other's idea, and then be more visual, interactive, and then number of ideas, you can put numbering of the ideas, and build on each other's idea, and then jump and build when ideas reach a plateau, a small deviation, and can go back to the previous idea and then change it, modify it, and then remember to use space. So, and then stretch and mental muscle, which means that you give the participants and a little warm up, practice is required. So all these things what we are trying to do. We are trying to make products which are generate ideas which are more improved and out of the box. And of course prototype is possible. That is if that is and then we again use the same technique to generate more and more ideas. Now the fourth step for design thinking is a prototype. Here we are trying to bring idea into reality. So where the prototype is not the final model, but it is a product which we are making, and in testing we are going to test with the user. So here it can be models, it can be sketches, it can be digital form. So what we should select? Select among the type of product or the solution which we are expecting. So for some kind of solution, models may be enough. Some kind of solution, sketching may be enough. For some kind of written material may be enough. For some kind of something we may make actual working model, maybe use IT manufacturing to make the models. And then sometimes it will be incomplete, and the versions can be incomplete, but it should have the features to explain the people this is the idea which we are having. And the main aim of the prototype is to get the complete idea of all the hurdles and which can make a successful product. So, and then prototypes can be of many times and multiple times it could be there. So from idea, another quote which is quite interesting: if a picture is worth 1,000 words, a prototype is worth 1,000 meetings. Which means that when you have prototype, you can easily know this is the product which we are going to give it to the customers, and this is going to reduce a lot of confusions. So prototype in all this, interaction and end of the advance, providing a small scale solution, and then getting the feedback. This is something which is done in the testing phase, and prototype is where we make the product and try to see the testing is done later on. And then we also need to see that it is not we should also avoid wasting a lot of money, because the prototyping it is something like expensive process. The process which we have, if we make the product and then we show it to the user, sometimes not possible. So we make the prototype and show it to the user. So, but also we need to have some idea how much to prototype and when to prototype. There are some advantages, of course, for early prototyping, that it converts the abstract form, this is the idea which we are having, and the physical form. This is something which is very valuable, and this can be shown later on to the user. And design teams can work on something which is work in progress, that also we can show in between. Prototype need not be now everything is complete and then we are doing. In between also we can do. Then iterations, it could be done simultaneously or one by one. Like Apple, they consider prototype is very important. So Ken, the former designer in Apple, this is the quote from him, that demos were fundamental to our work at Apple. We use them to highlight the potential, explore the concept, show the progress, prompt the decisions, and drive the decisions for making our product. Software demos need to be convincing enough to explore an idea, to communicate a step towards making a product. Even though the demo is not the product itself, it serves as a primary means to turn ideas into a software. So that is what the importance of prototype is here. Now, finally, we are going to the fifth step of design thinking, that is the testing phase of test. So this is the last stage of design thinking, or the fifth step. And here we test the prototype or the product with the users, which means that we gather data, we collect the data from the user and see how they are feeling of the product, what is their feedback is. So of course there are some techniques on this. However, the most important thing is that the product, when it's final stage, we have this multiple product which we prototypes, and we can get feedback and suggestion from them. So this is the product which are we thinking of. Are we telling about this is the product which you like, or do you think this is the any changes are required? What do you feel about the product? Do you think you're going to use it? So the various questions can be coming, but until we show it to the user, and also sometimes verbal and informal information also you can get it. So you have to have a series of changes also possible, editing is also possible, and this is basically a testing phase, which is of course important. And feedback from the user is where we are going to take in various ways. So this is, we should understand that we are trying to demonstrate the product, we are not selling it, okay? We are not trying to look at, you're going to buy it or not, okay? Do you think like it or product? No, you're going to understand what the product feel, what the users feel when they're seeing the product, what the customers is going to see, why they're interested or why they don't have interest in this one. Next is Jane Knapp. In his book on sprint, he has described how to conduct interviews and how to validate it. So according to him, the 5 customer interactions are enough for a complete idea of a prototype, and this is the only trick, that a designer should know the right customer with whom the prototype should be shown, not all the customers. Designer should get the right customer in which not only to give the honest feedback but also give the ideas which might come. And design thinking is the approach towards innovation. It's very important to approach to innovation, and it becomes successful at the interaction of what is desirable to the users, what is feasible and technological point of view, and what seems to be an economic and viable options for the designing. Thank you.